If you're anything like me, you probably have a lot of projects, more than you can take care of in one day. But for me, I like to get a couple of those projects knocked off my list, and one of them happens to be changing this tire. So it's interesting to me that I know a lot of people that are somewhere around my age, and they have gone their entire adult lives without knowing how to change a tire. So in today's Tactical Tuesday, we're going to knock one of those projects off my list and change a tire. Check it out. Okay, so while the car's on the ground, what you're gonna wanna do is loosen up all of the lug nuts. Now, some of them, depending on your situation, might be a little too tight to unloosen. You'll notice that I went from this one to this one. Next, I'm gonna go to this one, to this one, to this one. Now, why do I do it that way? Well, it's first of all a good habit to build, because when you go to tighten it back up, you want to tighten them in the star pattern so that you could get equal pressure onto all of the different bolts so that your tire seats perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this one. Now I'm going to move to this one. Oh, it's already loose. And I'm going to loosen this. Oh man. Okay, so now we've come across a problem. Pretty common. I've got a tiny ratchet here, and I'm trying to loosen up a bolt that's probably been on there for a long time. So, in order to solve that problem, we're gonna introduce some new leverage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, you can use a bar if you've got like a pipe or something. You can put a pipe over the top of it. Actually, let's do that. What I was going to do is I was going to show you how to use something like this for leverage, but that gets a little wonky. You can hit a finger so what I've got is the pipe off of my floor jack. You see that? So what I'm going to do is use it like a breaker bar. So with this much leverage pulling on it, no problem. Okay. Got the same problem here. Alrighty. Now you don't want to take them off all the way. Depending on where you are, if you're on a flat level surface, you'll be okay not blocking the tire on the other side. Although I do recommend it, it's not completely necessary if you're on a flat ground. If you're on an incline, it's mandatory. It's an absolute must that you have to block. You block the front two tires, or you at least block one of the tires. Very important. You should also set your emergency brake. It's just good practice. Okay, now that I'm ready, I've loosened the tire lug nuts. I'm ready to bring my floor jack in. Where do you put it? You can't just put it anywhere. Depending on the type of car that you have, it could have a frame, and you're going to want to put it on the frame, preferably somewhere close to the axle. Or if it's a newer model car, sometimes the frame is built onto the car. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called a unibody. But it's still very, very important to find the right location to put your floor jack into, because if you just put it under one of the floor pans and start jacking it up, it could actually go through the bottom into your car. So let's take a look. Okay, so I'm under the car. I've got my floor jack slid in here, and here's what's going on. This assembly right here with the spring on it, that is attached to my tire. And so right here, that would be a really nice place to put it.
If the back of your car doesn't look like this, then you probably have a rear differential, which is this guy right there. Okay, and that's a safe place to put it. That's connected to your axles. So let's go ahead and slide this down there. And then just go ahead and make sure that we are in the right place. Slowly start lifting up. Once I know that I'm in the right place, I can make contact. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. Make sure I'm twisted all the way to the right, and I can just start lifting the car up. Taking the pressure off of that wheel, putting everything right there on the floor jack. All right, I've got my lug nuts loosened. It's time to pull the wheel off. All right, well, you've got your tire off. It's a really good idea to check your brake pads. So this little guy right here is my piston right in here, and I'm gonna just check. The way to check it is to see if you have any meat left right on that little pad in there. So it looks like these are in fine shape. You ever hear your car squealing? This little brake pad right here has a metal attachment to it that when it wears down far enough, it'll start rubbing up against this guy right here and make a squealing noise. Now the factories do that on purpose so that you can know it's time to change your brake pads without completely ruining your rotor. Alright, so I've got the correct wheel. We're going to put it in place. Now, uh-oh, it doesn't match up. Not because the pattern is different, but because the car's not high enough off the ground. See, the other tire that I had was a lower profile tire, and it's important to know that that one was flat also. So right now, if I were to put this bolt in, it's sitting about 4 inches below where it needs to go. So we got to jack it up a little further. Okay. That should do it. It's a little too high, but that's okay. I'm just trying to get one of them threaded in there to hold it in place. I could rotate the other ones around it. Okay, once you've got all 4 5 lug nuts back in. You want to just give them all just a nice little, don't make them too tight. You don't want to put too much pressure on these things while the tire's still in the air. So now it's time to let it down. Okay, we're back on the ground, and now that star pattern I was telling you about, this is the part where it's important. So let's do this. Your user's manual should give you the right foot-pounds of torque to use on these, but I've been doing this my whole life, so for me it's a feel thing. You see that I'm going in that star pattern again to make sure that the displacement is even and the tire is seated properly. And there you have it. You're ready to go. If you ever get stuck on the side of the road, pull this video up. You can change your own tire. Thanks for joining. Now I've got one less project on my list and my mind is clear for the day. Mission accomplished.